Is happiness really a choice? Is it truly that simple? Well, Naval Ravikant thinks so. Now, one of the things I love about Naval is that one, he's brilliant. He's a venture capitalist, but more than that, he's just a really wise guy that has practical applications for life. And that's really why I listen to him and what he has to say. And one of the things that he talks about, he'll take these kind of broad macro ideas like being happy, being wealthy, and he will always come to the conclusion that being wealthy or being happy or being healthy, all of these things are skills. If you can learn the skill for being happy, then you can be happy. So if you choose to be happy, then develop the skills that it takes to be happy, then you will in fact be happy. So I wanted to bring this video to you and let Naval speak on this topic. This is him on the Joe Rogan show. I think you'll enjoy it. And then I'm going to close it out at the end with some final thoughts.
There's social consistency, right? Humans have a need to be highly consistent with their past pronouncements. So the way I started my first tech company was I was working inside a larger organization, and I told everybody that I was going to go start a company. I was like, I hate this place. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be a successful entrepreneur. 6 months pass, 9 months pass. Then people start, you're still here? I thought you were going to go start a company. Were you lying? Right? That was the implication. So we kind of know this, right? Social contracts are very powerful. Like if you want to give up drinking, right, and you're not serious about it, you'll say, I'm going to cut back. I'm going to have only one drink a night. I'm going to only drink on weekends. You tell yourself. But if you're serious, you'll announce it on Facebook. You'll tell all your friends. You'll tell your wife. You'll say, I'm done drinking. I'm throwing everything out of the house. You'll never see me drink again. When you say that, you know you're serious. So I think a lot of these are choices that we make, and happiness is just one of those choices.
Maybe I should have announced a drinking game for every time I said be happy in that first video. Sorry about that. So I want to tell you a really quick story. Whenever I bought my first business back in 2003, it was hell. I was scared. I really didn't have that much money. I didn't have the money to buy the business. I just was able to do some very creative financing, and I got into it. And the best way I could describe it was I felt every day like I had this elephant sitting on my chest. I was deep in debt because I'd leveraged myself to the hilt to buy the business. Honestly, I was just scared, and eventually the pressure just made me miserable. And I remember one time telling a friend that if I were to be diagnosed with cancer, then I wouldn't seek treatment. I'd just rather die. That's how sick I was, and it was sick. And what it did was it made me just a miserable person until finally I started trying to take account of the good in it. One, I had executed this plan to buy my business, and I wasn't broke. Every day I felt like I was going to go broke, but I wasn't broke. And I started just taking inventory of the things that I did have and practicing gratitude. But in that moment, being happy was very, very challenging. And so I bring that up because my life has changed dramatically by rewiring my brain to one, determine and decide. And part of the skills that I've applied to be happy is to one, have a mindset that one, I'm not a negative person. I can't allow myself to utter negative things or to have negative thoughts because my identity is based in being a positive person. That's one of the things that Naval goes on to talk about. It's like a lot of being happy, being healthy, and all these things, they're basically identity-based habits. He actually mentions exactly one of the things that I implemented to stop drinking. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in nearly 6 years. And it's not because of scruples or because of anything like that. It's because I had this mindset around the age of 42 or whatever that I want to start being as healthy as I possibly could. And drinking just didn't apply to that. It just it collided. Me being this uber healthy person with clear thoughts and a clear head and being able to slow the aging process as best I could, and drinking just didn't mix. So I gave up alcohol. And it became a part of my identity. Then I started this podcast. I also have another podcast called The Healthy CEO. I'm the co-founder of a nutraceutical company called Authentic Health Partners. And so I have this identity that is based in being healthy and based in health span and longevity. And so that made it easier to not drink and to instead make really healthy choices. Well, when it comes to being happy, it's kind of the same way. If you determine and you tell people, like, I'm a happy person, I am a happy person. If you look at yourself in the mirror every morning, as silly as it sounds, and you go, dude, you're a happy person. You're happy. And every time a negative thought comes in, contradict it internally. Say, wait a minute, this thought doesn't belong because you're a happy person. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be void of all negativity and bad things happening. And sometimes you will, in fact, not be happy. But that should be the unusual state of your existence. Those times when you are not happy, then that means that something is amiss because you're a happy person. And I think it's skill development. It's practicing your self talk, it's practicing affirmations, it's making healthy choices. One of the things that, like, again, one of the reasons why I stopped drinking is it wasn't because I just wanted to take that one thing in isolation and abrogate it from my life, the not drinking. It was, I wanted to be a healthy person. I wanted to be healthy, and a byproduct of that and developing the skills of being healthy meant not drinking. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining that right, because it's almost like everything else. If you want to be a wealthy person, what are the skills that it takes to be wealthy? Well, first, it means you have to gain a lot of knowledge on wealth building. You have to practice the skill of budgeting, of not spending more than you make. It means practicing the skill of not taking on debt unnecessarily and making impulse purchases or whatever. There's skills that go with being wealthy. There's skills that go with being happy. There's skills that go with being healthy. So as it relates to this one, while it sounds so simple to say happiness is a choice, but really that's just the beginning. Choosing to be happy is just that. It's you choose. I'm going to be happy. It's like you say, well, I am choosing to take a trip to Colorado. Okay. Well, you're still going to have to take some actions to get there, right? You're going to have to pack. You're going to have to figure out where you're going. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to get there. Car, bus. That would be weird this day and age to take a bus to Colorado. I wouldn't want to do that. That's for sure. Well, but maybe you're going to fly. You're going to figure all these things out. You're going to do all these things to get to Colorado. It's not as simple as just saying, I'm going to be in Colorado. I'm going to be a Coloradian. There's things that go with that. I know that sounds stupid. It's probably the worst analogy I could have possibly used. It still really would be weird. I would hate to have to take a bus to Colorado. Good grief. Can you imagine? One of my favorite movies back in the day was Dumb and Dumber. And I love the scene where they drive the wrong way. I guess they end up in Nebraska. I think that's right. And it's just Lloyd looks at Harry.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
Because it's nothing but just plains of wheat or whatever before they finally made it to Aspen. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this video other than Dumb and Dumber can make you happy if you like really, really stupid comedies. It's a classic in my book. But anyway, back in character, the self-improvement guy, all that stuff. Choose to be happy and then start practicing the skills it takes to be happy. That's my hope for you, that of all the things that I have said, the million times I've said be happy and turn this video into a drinking game. Take a shot every time he says be happy, but maybe make it like a wheatgrass shot or something like that, because alcohol is just not good for you. There are no benefits to alcohol. None. I'm not here to judge, but since I mentioned that earlier, I shouldn't drink alcohol. But I do want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy, happy, and joyful. And I'll tell you right now, one of the things that I am on a mission to do, not only just to improve always and always, but I want to improve my happiness always and always. And I hope you'll join me. If you like this video, take the time to subscribe to it. I'm trying to build this channel up. You can tell it's not a big channel. Click like or subscribe, leave some comments, and come back here. Remember, the first decision you got to make if you want to get happy is to choose to be happy.